So let's start with that massive transfer news this deadline day, but not in football, it's in Formula One.
Absolutely. Lewis Hamilton will leave Mercedes and join Ferrari for the 2025 season.
Well, Craig Slater knows all about Formula One. Is this official yet? We know it's happening, but has it been officially announced by anybody?
Everyone out there, it is February the 1st, not April the 1st. and yes, we understand this is happening. To answer your question directly, it is not official yet. And I've been in touch with both Mercedes and Ferrari today, who are both making no comments on this. But multiple senior sources have told me that this is a done deal. And I'm talking about team principals and other leadership figures within Formula One. And I expect official confirmation later today that this is indeed happening, that Lewis Hamilton is joining Ferrari at the end of this season, so for 2025. I would expect on more than a one-year deal. I haven't been able to ascertain exactly how long he's signed up for, but you would imagine it would be for more than just 1 year, especially with a rules change on the horizon. What I do know is that Mercedes have called a meeting of staff today at their factory in Brackley, and team principal and chief executive and one-third owner Toto Wolff is driving there along with technical director James Allison to address the troops in effect, and as far as I understand it, to break this news.
Came as a massive shock, not least because he signed Hamilton a new 2-year contract last summer.
Yes, and has achieved so much with Mercedes, 6 of his 7 world championships, and yet there were talks we know about in which Lewis admitted to between himself and Ferrari chairman John Elkann, and it's been explained to me today that this has been an ongoing courtship for some months now. So maybe it shouldn't be such a surprise, and if there was anywhere Lewis was going to go to top this masterpiece of a career of his off, then it's going to be Ferrari, and he'll wear those famous red overalls.
Do you expect them to be competitive, or is this a nostalgic commercial deal?
This is the key to this. Is Lewis being ruled by his heart or his head in this, or is there another factor at play? Now, Lewis wants to finish with an 8th World Championship, which he feels he was robbed of in 2021, and a lot of people around the world agree with him on that. Red Bull have the dominant car at the moment. It's going to be hard to displace them next year, or indeed potentially the year after that, 2025. I'm talking about, of course. 2026, there's a rules change, and engines become perhaps again the dominant factor. So I think this is the one slight gamble Lewis is making here, because Mercedes historically have produced the best Formula One engine. Ferrari probably second best, but I was thinking, if things aren't going so well for Lewis here, maybe his best bet for that 8th title is to stay at Mercedes until 2026. There's been a bit of speculation. Does Lewis already know, for example, that the 2024 car is not very good from some of the numbers coming out of the Mercedes factory and the simulator numbers that they've already had? Can't really stand that up yet, but that is conceivable. So he's thinking, I need to move. But the other factor here, I think, in terms of the why is he doing this? We have to remember what Lewis Hamilton does off track. He's already gone on the record to say is as important to him as his performance on it. Now, he and Mercedes have been remarkable partners in terms of promoting diversity within motorsport, not just in motorsport, but with their Ignite program, with Mission 44, getting underrepresented groups into engineering courses and into different careers within motorsport. Surely John Elkann at Ferrari has said to him, come to us, perhaps change our culture as well, and use our enormous Ferrari platform to continue this work. And I think Hamilton would have found that alluring.
And for Ferrari, you mentioned the 2026 target with everything changing. How confident will they be, or have to be, about the physical condition of Lewis Hamilton as he heads to 40?
That is a question. Do sportsmen get better after the age, or women after the age of 37, 38? Lewis Hamilton has asked himself the very same question. In fact, I asked Lewis last year when he got a pole position, his sole pole of the year, at times, have you questioned whether you could hit the heights again? And he said, that's a very personal question. I don't want to answer that. Later on in the year, he admitted, yes, I did ask myself that question. So it's not going to be easy for him, and he's put himself, and this underlines the bravery and fearlessness of Lewis Hamilton against, along with Max Verstappen, probably the best young driver in the world in Charles Leclerc, in direct comparison, in a year where Lewis will be 40 and Leclerc will be, 27. So it's a brave move for Lewis here. But yes, I mean, to answer your question, he still is in fantastic physical shape, and he is so motivated to win that 8th championship.
And what about Mercedes, Craig, and George Russell, who would think, right, I want to be the number one here in this team?
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to, on the face of it, think this is another big name leaving Mercedes. So the biggest name, of course. They've lost Andy Cowell, who built that all-conquering engine a few years ago. He left the team. They've lost James Vowles, who's gone and become team principal at Williams. Various other technical staff have gone as well. Is the kind of Mercedes empire, in a way, is it showing signs of maybe coming to an end, this dynasty, by a kind of natural wastage? It's a big, big job to replace Lewis Hamilton. This is good news, I suppose, on the face of it for George Russell, because almost certainly he will be leading the team and be the senior driver in that 2025 season. And I suppose, because Lewis is on his way out, he may even have that status this year too. Let's see how Mercedes play it. So it's good for him. Very hard to think of who Mercedes will replace Lewis Hamilton with. There aren't any obvious candidates. And I understand that maybe the reason Lando Norris was signed up early by McLaren and that the contract was done for Leclerc in advance of this is that they knew Mercedes would come looking for Norris, and Ferrari would be worried that Mercedes would try and prize Leclerc away. So I think some of these moves were done in advance because teams got wind of that this was going to come to pass. Alex Albon would be the name, I think, is right now would be favourite to step into Hamilton's shoes, currently at Williams, but with connections to Mercedes too.